The topic I'm wishing to share with you today is rather vast, and I'm not going to make this video vast. So the purpose of it is really to look at it from another perspective, because I have spoken about the Eye of Ra, which is also called the Heliomar, and the lion-headed sun lords who guardian it. I've talked about all of this before, wrapped into other videos. It's a large topic, but I wanted it with this video simply to bring it into some kind of imagery focus so you could feel it and sense it, because this topic is one of the core subjects that Thoth has brought to me in the last 55 plus years that I've been working with this consciously. And he will return to it. You know, it's one of the, that's why I call it core. The core sciences that he brings forth are things he will return to again and again and show how it relates to this and how it relates to that, you know, as time progresses. I am going to try to keep this as simple and short as possible. As I said, I really want to just bring more of an imagery experience to you, but at the same time, it is necessary for me to share certain information. So first, I'd like to give you Thoth's definition of a teleplane. A teleplane is a dimensional moving selah. It is a point of definition or centering that is not stationary in time-space, but moves between subjective realities. It teleports information from one reality to another. This is a natural condition very necessary to support the universal continuum. There are many teleplanes, although this one that we're speaking of here is of major distinction and importance. So now let us go back to the Eye of Ra, or Heliomar. It's the same thing. And this is like a nerve center of a brain, of our universe, of our holographic universe, which is a quantum field, a quantum realization. And as such, it does not contain linear function in and of itself. We create an overlay of linear experience, time, space, this sort of thing. But the actual holographic universe that we perceive is not as we think it is. We think of traveling, you know, light years and light years and light years and light years, and there's still more universe, and there's more universe, and there's more universe out there. Well, that is the way we position ourselves in our conscious reality, and therefore we can create that mechanism if we wish. But the actual holographic universe that we are perceiving is all coming from within. So when Thoth tells us that inside the constellation of Orion, in the nebula of Orion, in the trapezium of Orion, is this brain center for the entire universe. That is his reality, because he's speaking about quantum physics, the quantum world, which does not delineate, oh, well, this is close and this is far away. So back to the concept of the teleplanes. It is the teleplanes that transfer the information of that reality to all points in its holographic field. Without that, we would not be able to be, because being requires attention. And the teleplanes are the streams that give us the attention we need through information, not just information, but stimulation of our brain-mind complex. And so there was a universal tear when two universes, let's call it, collided. And it created this tear that's to be found in the trapezium area of the nebula of Orion. it exposed the Heliomar, the Eye of Ra. So the Syrians, for whatever reason, it was their task, I don't know how that came about, are the ones who guardian that terror. And they created this massive starship, let's call it, or contraption, Merkaba, that's placed on a particular node that seals, stabilizes the Heliomar. Otherwise, it would just be one big free-for-all of energies rushing and going forth and just tearing it to pieces. And we would not have a true universal spectrum. So the capstone, this star Merkaba that the Syrians have placed on that node, Thoth refers to as the telos arkarha. And in a 1993 issue of Temple Doors, he states that it is a repository which is positioned on the teleplane, linking various realities related to Earth's scroll, or spiritual time progression. It forms synergic connections between Cydonia on Mars, which we call the dwelling place of the Lords, the Great Pyramid Complex in Egypt, Temples of the Lion, Rennes-le-Château in France, or at least something that is there, the cornerstone of Kneber, which is historically known as Nineveh, and the Chamber of the Seven Seals in the Sinai. The Telosakara accesses all sacred centers of Earth, but these are the major templates which connect and feed through it. There's also Easter Island, which plays a very specific role in all of this. Of course, this is about planet Earth and how we connect to the Eye of Ra, the Telosakara, and all of these things. The universal spectrum has other points of experience and beings that are relating to this whole dynamic, but we're looking at how we relate here. And then there is Ruta, the Ascended Isle of Atlantis, that I've spoken about quite a bit on my videos. And Ruta is positioned right on the lip of the Omicron. It's kind of interesting that would be the name when we're considering what's going on in 2022. But anyway, and on the Omicron is like the outer lip or edge of this tear. So when Ruta ascended, it positions itself on the lip of the Omicron. Again, we're not speaking of space, like, oh, that's so far away. How did it get way over there? All of this is a central point of experience when you draw it into your field. So everything is just right there. So Ruta works with that on purpose to help the Earth align itself to the whole process of healing the stars, healing the tear, the universal tear. And we are a part of that. It's not like we're just trying to hold this leaky bucket together, everybody in the universe that we share this reality with, or multiple realities with. It's about healing it so we can really move on, not just to the new Earth star. See, that's just a small fish in the sea. You know, it's a big thing to us, moving from World System 1 to World System 2. But actually, there's so much more. And we are part of the plan to heal the universe. And that is what this is really all about. Now let us look at the Telosakara a little more closely. From 1993, I asked Thoth about the Telosakara as a repository. What does this repository store? And he said, the light mathematic harmonics for the hierarchical plan of Earth. It is difficult to put into words you would be able to understand at this point, but in its essence, the codings for the doctrine of signature of Earth. It might be easier to comprehend it musically, A piece of classical music would contain instructions throughout, telling the musician how to express the notes as he plays them. The Symphony of Earth has these instructions as well, which are contained in the Telesakara. Now, to pause on the reading for a moment, I have said that the Telesakara is not just about planet Earth. However, planet Earth sits on a very specific node in this whole universal play, this drama. And as such, it has a prominence within the Telesakara. Now, Thoth states that the Telesakara was created by the Melchizedekian lords. Got a lot of lords here. And the Melchizedekian lords are also solar lords. Okay. And we'd have to go back to the video I made, the very first one in the Grail series that talks about Lord Melchizedek from Venus. Well, this is a whole pattern of energy fields that connects these souls. And if you will recall, Thoth speaks about the triagate of stars, and that is Orion, the Pleiades, and Sirius. So they all come together working for this healing of the universal terror. So back to Thoth's definition of the repository of Telesakara. Within the Telesakara resonates the codings for the DNA crystallix of Earth's life forms. From this crystallix arises the definitions of the cycles of mankind's time on Earth before the ascension of the planet, or LP40, Light Principle 40. These cycles are 20 in number. You find yourselves within the 19th cycle now. And this was written in 1993. So I imagine we're still in the 19th cycle. These can be found accurately represented in the Mayan star glyphs, which are 20 in number. They are arranged sequentially correct in the Mayan oracle. That's by Ariel Spilsbury. Thus, the world finds itself now under the star shield of Kuak. Purification, transformation, reunion, light body, activation for ascension, thunder being, lightning path, initiation by fire, ecstasy of freedom. The totem being is the white owl, with the thundercloud and lightning being symbols of empowerment. Royal purple is the color. The most vibrationally accurate crystal is sugilite, and the element is water. The meditation and affirmation given in the Mayan oracle is entirely appropriate for this 19th cycle, and I quote, "Enter the wave of ecstasy beyond the finite dance of the swirling veils. Fragments of the greater self gather, moving homeward. Rise up unveiled. Horizons await. I am purifying and transforming myself, igniting my light body, healing all separation." Even though we are still in the 19th cycle, Thoth stresses that it is important also to work with the consciousness of the 20th cycle, because that is the cycle that is taking us into and will be profoundly within the second world system 2, which is in what he calls the third millennium. It is under the star shield of Ahahu, the star glyph of Metatron. And to quote again from the Mayan oracle, this is union, wholeness, ascension, unconditional love, solar mastery, Christ consciousness, language of light, ecstasy, limitless bliss, and crown. The color is gold, and stones, the most resonant crystals, are amber, golden topaz, and yellow sapphire. The totem is the white dove, and the empowerment symbols are the sun itself and crown chakra. Now I'm going to read to you a little more about the Heliomar, which of course is the Eye of Ra. This is the realm beneath the footrest of the Lord, the fallen gate. It is not a part of the abyss of fallen light. It is isolated from all time and space, and therefore not in contradiction with either light or darkness. It is the center of the throne, the missing gem of the crown of Lucifer, and as we have said, the eye of Ra, Ra Solis, Osiris, and Horus, these are all counterparts of that frequency. In the Heliomar, there are the lion forms we shall call the Sun Lords. These are specific Sun Lords. These beings are not as physical as the Pashats and their hybrids. He's referring to some other cat-like creatures here. The Christos and the Zumir, again, other beings of Sirius. They are more Davic angelic. The domestic cats, the large cats, and most supremely the lion, are Davic manifestations of these greater forms stemming through the Pashats to the Sun Lords. Remember that all is one. Thus, a human form, a lion form, or whatever type of form, are all part of the same energy. The Sun Lords work with interdimensional fields to supply the center gemstone ray, uniting the three crucibles. These three crucibles are the first and second and third millenniums, which do not denote 100 years, but these are the Thothic terms representing before the separation, during the separation, which we're in now, the second, and the third is unity, union, reunion, which would be World System 2, New Earth Star. The lion ones are always guardians, whether it is of knowledge, wisdom, elementals, or time. They are also, in certain capacities, guardians of the human race. Now I'd like to really go into free fall with this and show you some images that I've created that align to specific aspects of what I've been talking about here. Of course, the lion-headed ones, the feline beings, the telesakara, and what is inside the telesakara. I was asked to see some of that just yesterday as I was working with this, and I saw that there were chambers with these very specific crystals in them, and all of these crystals were compartmentalized, and yet they worked together. It was almost like a Rubik cube. They could be switched in field motion. That's what it was called to me. And so that as they were switched in the actual physical object of the telesakara, as they moved from one location, the whole chamber, like a little cubicle, moved to another, they formed a different configuration. And these crystals, the circuitry, activated in a different formation, depending upon the needs. So we're not just seeing a repository. Yes, obviously information is stored there, but we're also seeing a means to heal the tear. And how that works, and through the millennia of time as we understand time, what is happening? I don't know, but I find it fascinating. So let's take a look at this, the way I was shown it, and see how it flows here. you.